At the beginning of the film, we meet a man named Marco, who goes to meet a Russian gangster. Upon arriving, Marco hands the gangster a bag filled with money and demands, "Where's my stuff?" The gangster tosses him a set of car keys, explaining that his package is in the car's trunk. Marco takes the keys and walks away. Before leaving, however, he drives the gangster's entire crew to the location where the car is parked. Opening the trunk, Marco finds a suitcase. The scene cuts abruptly here. The focus then shifts to the main character, Dan, who is spending time with his wife. Today is a joyous day for Dan, as he has just learned that his wife is pregnant. Overwhelmed with happiness, the couple prepares for their day. It's Christmas, and both work at the airport. Knowing the rush that comes with the holiday, they head out together. Dan works in airport security, so he first attends a briefing about how to handle the busy day. Afterward, he approaches his boss, expressing his desire for a promotion. "I don't want to handle passenger boarding anymore," he says. "I want to be in charge of luggage scanning." His boss hesitates, pointing out that making changes on such a hectic day might not be wise. However, Dan's friend, Jason, steps in to help. With Jason's support, Dan's request is approved, and he begins his new assignment scanning luggage. The scene shifts again to an RV parked outside the airport, where a man named Riley is seen holding someone hostage. Riley, clearly part of a larger scheme, hacks into the airport's surveillance cameras. It's also revealed that Riley's team has kidnapped Jason's family to coerce him into cooperating. However, when Riley checks the live footage from the airport, he's shocked. Instead of Jason, he sees Dan at the luggage scanner, someone Riley knows nothing about. Realizing that their plan has been disrupted, Riley's team shifts focus to investigate Dan. Within minutes, the hacker extracts all of Dan's personal details. It becomes clear that these criminals are planning a major crime, and Dan is now unknowingly at the center of their sinister plot. Riley's team quickly discovers that Dan has no family except for his pregnant wife. Realizing they can exploit this as his vulnerability, they send their men to search Dan's house. While sifting through documents, they find confirmation of his wife's pregnancy. With this information in hand, they decide to use it as leverage against him. Meanwhile, at the airport, Dan is handed a piece of luggage he doesn't recognize. Confused, he insists, "This isn't mine." Suddenly, a message pops up on his phone. "Put the earphones in your ears." Startled, Dan hesitates but eventually complies. As soon as he does, a voice speaks to him. "If you value your life and your wife's, you'll follow my instructions exactly." Dan is initially baffled, but the man on the other end continues, "You don't need to do much. One of my men, wearing a red cap, will deliver a suitcase to you. Once you scan it, quietly let it through without alerting anyone. If you cooperate, you and your wife will remain safe. Any mistake, and you'll lose her." The voice assures them that he's being closely monitored and that they know exactly where his wife is. Then grows visibly anxious. He discreetly hides his phone under the curtain and tries to contact the police. However, Riley's team, watching his every move, immediately intervenes. "Hang up that call right now," the man warns. "One of my men has a rifle aimed at your wife's head. One wrong move, and she's gone." Terrified, Dan disconnects the call. The man's chilling words leave no doubt, Dan has no choice but to comply. Resigned to the situation, he locks his phone in a nearby locker and asks, "Who are you? Are you a terrorist?" The man coldly replies, "No, I'm not a terrorist. I'm just someone carrying out a job. Don't ask too many questions." When Dan hesitantly asks about the suitcase's contents, the man shuts him down. "You don't need to know. All you need to do is ensure it gets on the plane. If it's tampered with or doesn't reach its destination, both you and your wife are finished." Then tries to buy time, remarking, "If Jason were in my place, what would you have done?" The man responds with chilling confidence, "Jason would have followed orders, just like you will. After all, we have his family too." Despite the dire situation, Dan attempts to outsmart them. Using his smartwatch, he discreetly types a message, hoping to signal for help. However, Riley, stationed outside the airport with his hacked surveillance feed, notices this instantly. He relays the information to his team, ensuring that Dan's every move remains under tight scrutiny. The man speaking to Dan warns him sternly, "You're making too many mistakes. I won't give you endless chances. Take off that smartwatch, put it in the locker, and don't test my patience again." nervously, then complies, realizing the man is closely monitoring his actions. The scene shifts to Detective Elena, who is investigating the location where Kalmar had met the Russian gangster. During her search, she discovers the gangster's lifeless body and a damaged watch nearby. Inspecting the watch, Elena finds a recording chip embedded in it. Though the chip is partially burnt, she hands it over to the forensic team, requesting a full analysis. They manage to recover some data but find the audio files heavily degraded, making them difficult to decipher. Back at the airport, then is still under the man's watchful eye. "One of my men will be there soon," the voice tells him. "Until then, let's have a little chat." Listening closely, then begins piecing together the sounds in the background, realizing the man isn't watching him directly but relying on audio cues. Sensing an opportunity, then swiftly rises from his seat. Acting as if he's handing a boarding pass to a nearby passenger, he scrawls a quick message on the pass and discreetly slips it to a police officer. Unbeknownst to Than, Riley is monitoring everything through hacked CCTV feeds. Riley immediately alerts the man about Than's actions. At the same time, the police officer who received the boarding pass begins to suspect something is amiss and informs her team. Before the situation could escalate further, the man executes a plan. He intentionally bumps into the officer, and during the collision, he injects the officer with a lethal substance. The officer collapses and dies instantly. The man calmly returns to his chair, but when he looks back, he realizes Than is no longer in his place. Panicked, the man scans the crowded terminal and finally spots Than blending into the throng of people gathering around the commotion caused by the police. Determined not to let him escape, the man grabs the boarding pass the officer had and makes his way toward the crowd. As the camera pans out, we learn a shocking twist. The man orchestrating this chaos is none other than Marco, the very same man who had killed the Russian gangster at the film's beginning. Following Marco's orders, Than reluctantly scanned the bag. The screen revealed a dangerous weapon inside, though Than didn't fully understand its mechanics. He realized, however, that this weapon had the potential to destroy the entire plane. His worst fears were confirmed. It was the same lethal poison Detective Alana had been investigating earlier. Overwhelmed by stress, Than felt nauseous and rushed to the restroom. Marco followed him there, cornering him with more threats. "Don't try to be smart," Marco growled. "One wrong move, and you're dead." Desperate, Than pleaded, "There are 2,000 people on that plane. You'll be killing innocent lives." Marco coldly retorted, "If it doesn't go on the plane, it'll be released here, among 60,000 people. You decide who you want to save." Shaken, Than demanded to know why Marco was doing this. Marco replied calmly, "I'm not trying to kill anyone. I'm just doing my job. Let me do it." Meanwhile, Alana received a tip from her colleague about a suspicious call from the airport, a call placed by someone named Than. Her colleague also mentioned that a police officer had mysteriously died shortly after the call, suggesting something serious was happening. Unable to reach the airport in time, Alana dispatched a police force to seal off all the security checkpoints. The lockdown caused chaos at the airport. Than's boss, alarmed by the situation, gathered the security team to assist the police in checking every passenger. Thinking quickly, Than grabbed his boss's scanner and secretly entered the name of Marco's accomplice. When Marco's man reached the checkpoint, the police detained him for questioning. Marco, watching from a distance, saw his accomplice being escorted to a secure room. Furious, he confronted Than, demanding an explanation. Than, resolute, replied, "I'm sorry. I can't help you anymore." He removed the earpiece connected to Marco and rushed to find his wife. But as he approached her, he froze. There was a red laser on her head, a clear sign she was being targeted. Realizing the grave danger she was in, Than retreated to the restroom, panicked and helpless. Marco followed him into the restroom and attacked him, then fought back, using his electric stun gun to defend himself. Marco sneered, "You just don't learn, do you? You've made too many mistakes, and now you'll face the consequences." Marco activated the bomb in the bag, smirking as he revealed, this bomb was only meant to kill 2,000 people on that plane. Now, it'll take out 60,000. He pointed to a timer on the device, showing there were only 10 minutes left before detonation. Marco taunted, "If you want to save everyone, go to the suitcase. I'll tell you how to deactivate it, but only if you listen to me." Terrified yet determined, then sprinted to the security room where the bag was being held. Bursting in, he pulled a gun on his boss, knowing he had no other choice if he wanted to stop the catastrophe, then hesitated, unwilling to harm his boss. However, the other man, visibly frantic, grabbed a pen from the desk and used it to strangle Than's boss. This sudden act of violence enraged Than. Grabbing the man, he demanded, "Why did you kill him?" The man, trembling, replied, "They've kidnapped my brother. If I don't do this, they'll kill him." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Than contacted Marco, demanding instructions on how to deactivate the bomb. Following Marco's guidance, Than managed to stop the bomb just in time, but only seconds remained before it could have detonated. Meanwhile, Lena, racing to the airport with a supposed federal agent, received a shocking call. Her colleague informed her, "The federal agent with you isn't real. The actual agent just arrived at the station." Alarmed, Lena immediately drew her gun on the imposter. In response, the man accelerated the car, attempting to cause an accident. The vehicle swerved out of control and crashed. Both were severely injured, but the man, undeterred, grabbed Lena by the throat. Summoning her strength, Lena fought back, freeing herself before shooting him. Gasping for air, she stumbled out of the wreckage, determined to reach the airport. Back at the airport, Marco contacted his accomplice, instructing him to place the suitcase in the plane's locker. However, Marco had one final task. He wanted Than dead. As his accomplice aimed a gun at Than from behind, Than caught the movement in a nearby mirror. Reacting swiftly, he disarmed the attacker. In the ensuing scuffle, a misfired bullet struck the accomplice, killing him instantly. Seizing the opportunity, Than grabbed his phone and tried calling his wife, Nura, but she didn't answer. Her phone was locked away, and she was preoccupied. Desperate, Than called a friend, explaining the danger Nura was in. The friend relayed the message to her. Realizing the danger, Nura frantically tried calling Than back, but his phone was still unreachable. Meanwhile, Lena had arrived at the airport and quickly took charge, locking down the premises. Marco, however, also made his way to the airport, where he confronted Than. A tense standoff ensued. Marco shot at Than, grazing his arm, but then managed to escape. Marco sneered, "Hand over the suitcase, and I'll spare you." Than, seeing no other option, reluctantly handed over the suitcase. Before Marco could flee, Alana intercepted him. Then explained, "My wife's life is in danger. I need to save her," and bolted toward the parking area where Nura had been hiding. Nura, unaware of what was happening, had been targeted by Riley, who had hacked the airport's mobile network and learned that Than had exposed the truth to her. Just as Riley prepared to shoot Nura, Than arrived. Riley aimed at Than, but before he could fire, a gunshot rang out. Riley collapsed to the ground, revealing the shooter, Marco's accomplice, the brother of the man who had been coerced into helping with the suitcase. Fueled by vengeance, he had saved Nura by taking down Riley. By observing the man closely, Than quickly deduced that he must be the brother of the boy Riley had been blackmailing. Then gently revealed the truth, saying, "Your brother sacrificed his life to save you." The man was heartbroken upon hearing this, but there was no time to grieve as the situation remained critical. Then realized he still had to stop Marco from carrying out his plan. However, it was already too late. Marco had boarded the plane. Fortunately, Than had the foresight to place a tracking sticker on Marco's suitcase during the earlier scanning process. This sticker allowed him to pinpoint Marco's exact location on the plane. Then quickly contacted his wife, urging her to reach the airline department and ensure the plane wasn't delayed. If the plane doesn't take off, Than explained, Marco will detonate the bomb right there. I'll board the plane and deactivate it myself. Nara trusted his judgment and immediately relayed this information to Alana, who was attempting to prevent the plane's departure. Let the plane take off, Alana was told. Than knows how to handle this. He's done it before. Reluctantly, Alana allowed the plane to proceed. Meanwhile, Than managed to board the plane just before it took off. He headed straight to the cargo hold, where the suitcase containing the bomb was stored. As the plane ascended, Than worked quickly, opening the suitcase and beginning the delicate process of defusing the bomb. Marco, realizing someone was tampering with his plan, understood it had to be Than. To protect his mission, Marco descended into the cargo hold, gun in hand. He fired at Than, hitting him in the foot. Despite the injury, Than didn't give up. Marco tried to grab the suitcase, but then had cleverly stored it in a freezer to buy himself time. When Marco opened the freezer, he discovered that the bomb's most dangerous chemical, the one capable of mass destruction, was missing. It was in Thant's possession. At that moment, the sound of gunfire alerted the pilot, who decided to turn the plane back toward the airport, then seized the opportunity to act. Using his wits, he managed to push Marco into the freezer. He then threw the dangerous chemical inside and quickly sealed the door. Within moments, the chemical reacted, causing Marco's blood to curdle instantly. Marco succumbed to the effects, ending the threat he posed. With Marco neutralized, then successfully defused the bomb, saving the lives of the 2,000 passengers on board. When the plane landed back at the airport, it was surrounded by police, with Alana leading the team. Although Than was initially detained, Alana, fully aware of his heroics, vouched for him. "He saved everyone," she declared. Than was released and immediately reunited with his wife. In the movie's final moments, it was revealed that Marco's plan had been driven by his desire to eliminate a Russian officer. However, thanks to Thant's bravery and quick thinking, countless lives were saved. The story ended on a hopeful note, as everyone celebrated Christmas peacefully, grateful to be alive. With this, the movie ends. If you liked this video, then do not forget to subscribe to the channel after liking the video.